Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. One new face to the roundtable. Each one of you guys is going to get 30 seconds to chime in on one of three topics. Let's start it off. Roundtable. Welcome back. Joining us first, he's an undefeated MMA fighter out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Andrew Tennyson. Andrew, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
You ready for this?
I think so. I think I'm ready. I'm ready, Coach.
Screen right. James Lindemew, 610 The Sports Animal. When can people catch you?
It's going to be every Thursday, 5:35 on 610 The Sports Animal, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
To his right, Michael Frankel, Mr. All Over the Place. What are you on?
Red Menace TV, CageMinds.com, and the Duke City Life at abq.fm.
All right, man. Pleasure to have you guys.
And his picture's up at the post office.
Yeah. Let's jump right into it. I think pretty big news for all of us, no matter how you feel, how old he is. But Fedor Emelianenko is returning to MMA. Micah, how did you feel when you first heard this story? Did you go nuts? Not really?
Same look I had on my face when he came out at Bellator. Huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, he's coming back. All right, from boxers, from Bernard Hopkins to Randy Couture, fighters don't retire until they absolutely have to. Everyone gets that nagging want to get back in the cage of the ring, and they do it. He has a great opportunity. Japan, New Year's Eve, Spike TV, it's going to make a lot of money, so it's good for business.
We don't know a whole lot about the promotion at all.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. James, you have a couple more seconds. What do you think?
And that was the most surprising part, is that when it was announced, the promotion that he was working with, it's a relatively new promotion in Japan. It's an upstart almost. The New Year's doesn't surprise me at all. That was always kind of one of his signatures, was the fights that he would have on New Year's. What amazed me is, how did Bellator find an announcer that could mimic how they used to announce him back in the day?
I like that.
Because that was a different person, and they nailed it, whoever it was.
That wasn't Ann Lennyhart or whatever her name was?
I'm not sure. I mean, it sounded like it.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was her. It was her. It wasn't? Wow, that's amazing. Well, either way, Fedor, one of the greatest people in the sport, in the history of the sport, greatest heavyweight in history. But I don't think he should come back. I think he should concentrate on, building up his local and national MMA scene, becoming a great coach. It's just, I don't know. He's holding on to greatness, and I don't think you should.
You think at 38, it's just why?
Yeah, well, you see him, his last three outings were bad. He had a really easy fight against somebody. I think it was Jeff Monson was his last fight. It's not the same. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, and I think it's a little different from, I guess, boxing. I mean, if this were a boxer, people would probably say why. But because MMA and the history of MMA is so new and so fresh, people want to hold on to that, and extend it as long as possible. Because, when we were young, I mean, Fedor was dominating, dominating the sport completely. He was at the top of the game. I mean, I don't know about you guys. He's top 3 on my list, ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And anytime a guy that great, especially in a sport so young, says that he's going to continue fighting, I think it's something people get excited about, and more excited than not.
I just don't want him to pull a Kazushi Sakuraba and fight till he's broken.
Yeah, no, let's certainly hope not. Hopefully we avoid that. We jump right into the next topic, guys. Julian Williams, earlier this week, called out Austin Trout, who was ringside color commentating for his fight after a sensational performance. James, what do you think of the call out there ringside?
As far as call outs go, I thought it was done very well, at least. I mean, it wasn't a Conor McGregor type call out. He didn't talk about his mom or his family or anything. He just said, there's a guy I'd like to fight. And from J-Rock's perspective, it makes sense for him to call out a guy in Austin Trout, because that's a fight that could really propel his career. Right. So if he thinks that he can, get in that ring with him and compete, then call him out. But you noticed at the end of that, there was an exchange where they shook hands, and they're like, yeah, I'll fight you. I'll fight you next, if that's the case. So the professionalism that was involved in a call-out, I thought it was interesting.
Micah, we don't usually see this in boxing. You see this somewhat frequently in MMA. What'd you think?
I'm used to it from MMA, so I thought it was cool. And wasn't that also Austin had mentioned Williams last week when he fought?
Right after he said Julian Williams. That's how it gets done.
They got each other's names in each other's mouths. It sounds like it's something that matched up. It's just, hopefully it comes through. Hopefully the managers, the promoters, everything lines up perfectly. I'd say it's great to see they're both up there. Title fight sounds like something good. Just needs to happen.
Yeah, James brought up Conor McGregor. I think you were going to.
If you're not respectful in being able to shake the person's hand, and if you're attacking them, yelling right in their face when their family members are right there, I mean, there's a difference between that and what he did with Austin Trout. So it was a lot more respectful. And I don't like calling people out generally, but if you're going to do it like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a pro MMA fighter. What do you feel when you see other guys do that? I mean, you're obviously very humble, very chill.
Oh, I just don't like negativity. There's too much negativity in a sport where you're trying to hit each other already. So why do you have to talk about it? Just say, oh, I'll fight you. Sure, that'll be great. I want to fight you. Yeah, wonderful. And then you choke him out.
And you said, and for J-Rock, of course, Julian Williams here. He's a guy that's young up and coming. For him to call out somebody that, I don't want to say that Trout is a legend, at least locally here he is, but he defeated Miguel Cotto, and Miguel Cotto has had a meteoric rise ever since that loss, right? So for him to be able to call out someone like that, wanting a fight, set something up like that, it certainly adds value to him. And I don't even know if Julian Williams has a Facebook fan page, which is kind of crazy, so it definitely helps marketability there, where it is definitely much needed. We'll go to the last topic here. Dynamite won, of course, the hybrid event that took place on Spike. Kickboxing, Glory, and MMA, Bellator. What did you think of the event?
The event is great for people like me, who are complete fight nerds and combat sports nerds. But if you're just a mixed martial arts fan, or if you're just a kickboxing fan, mixing them both up just doesn't work. It's not Japan, and this is just a different market.
You don't feel it could work in the U.S.?
I don't think it's going to work, because if kickboxing was going to work in the U.S., it would have worked a long time ago. For whatever reason, people love knockouts. Kickboxing, that's what it's about. But then somehow it's just not as popular as MMA. And then people hate the ground game. So they're like, what's wrong? What do you people want?
That's a good point. And kickboxing never really took off here. Michael, we'll jump to you on this.
I love the event. I thought it was great, but I thought the Glory side was disappointing. Paul Daly, no one knew he had all those kicks in his arsenal, and he didn't throw a left hand. Who saw that coming? Right. The ladies, it was historical, their first fight in there. It just wasn't enough action-packed. Cavallari Mukasa, that was a great fight. And with the way the tournament worked out, it was just too spread apart for one night. And Francis Carmont had like a whole day to rest and get tired and feel his body beaten up. They really just needed that to be a lot more condensed, and it could work better for the tournament section. But as a spectacle, I thought it was fun to watch.
James?
You know, I got to echo what Andrew said. As a fight nerd, I loved it. You know, and the more fights, the better, in my opinion. But from the casual fans that I've spoken to, I mean, I believe there's some 20 fights on the card, I believe, all total, when you put them all together.
Very loaded card.
Imagine if you were just a casual fan and you purchased a ticket and showed up for that. I believe the fight started at something around 1 or 2 in the afternoon and went until, you know, the hours of the evening. Right. So that's just too much. It's too much for your casual fan. As far as the tournament goes, I like the idea of it, but I think logistically they do need to work on that. And then, you know, the Tito fight was kind of what we all expected, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and for me, you know, as you mentioned, as a fight nerd, it's something great to see. We all remember the K1 days, the K1 tournaments where Remy Bonjasky and McDonald would face each other late night on ESPN or whatever it might be. So it brought that. You know, you reminisced a little bit, but as far as the formatting and I think the flow of things is just a little different. That, as you mentioned, the American fan, the one that was recently introduced to MMA and, of course, trying to be reintroduced to kickboxing, it's a little difficult to go back and forth. So we'll see. I think they can work out some kinks. I think it's not the last time we actually see it. That'll do it. You know, thank you guys for coming on board. I like the topics that we kind of flowed through here.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys.
Gotta throw that out there.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. But again, you know, same time next week.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll be here.
Hang tight. Roundtable, Combat Sports Weekly. We'll see you guys.